everyone. It's Alex Hodgman, store manager at Mike's Golf Outlet in Hartford, Connecticut, and I'm here with Ron Emanuelson, the assistant store manager, and we're going to have a little fun today. We're going to hit drivers from the last 70 years or so, starting with this persimmon-headed Ben Hogan driver, all the way up to the TaylorMade M6, which is this year's model, and we're going to try to hit a club from every decade and just compare the distances and spin rates and club head speeds of all of them to see if technology really works and how it's developed over the last several decades. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have Ronnie hit the shots. Ron's a bit of a monster with a driver in his hand. He swings well over 100 miles an hour, hits the ball well over 300 yards, carries the ball over 300 yards. So it's going to be interesting to see what that kind of a swing speed does to a persimmon-headed wood from 1960, give or take, all the way up until today. We'll get to see the different distances shot by shot. So what we're going to do, we'll start off with the earliest one, the persimmon wood, and you'll see one swing. He's going to swing as hard as he can, try to make good contact. We'll look at the numbers, the total distance, the carry, the launch angle, spin rate, club head speed, and then we'll cut to the next driver. And we're going to hit 7 different shots and just see what the results are. So it should be really interesting. Okay, so here's the first club we're going to hit. I'll get close to the camera here. This is a Ben Hogan Persimmon driver. As you can see, it's in pretty nice shape. We got it in trade in here at Mike's Golf Outlet. So let's see what his really hard swing does to this club and see how far it goes. Okay, interesting shot there. So, as you can see over here, he swung the club 120 miles an hour, which is crazy fast, and I have no idea what shaft is in that club. Probably a regular from like 1965, so it definitely couldn't handle that force, and the ball went way to the right. Only got 226 yards of carry, 262 yards total, and when Ron hits a driver that's new to today's time frame, he hits it well over 300, and he hit that one pretty well. So that kind of shows you from the 1960s and 70s when they're using wood clubs, that's about maxed out. You couldn't really get much more out of that. Let's see what he does with the next decade. Okay, so here's the next driver we're going to be hitting. You'll see it's the TaylorMade Burner Plus. This is from the mid to late 80s, so it's actually a steel head, about the same size as the Persimmon. You can see it's about the size of a golf ball, tiny, tiny head with kind of minimal technology here. Let's see what he does and see if the metal head has any effect on the distance. Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's see. So he swung that one at almost 125 miles an hour. Didn't hit it as solid. I'm looking at his smash factor, which is ball speed divided by club speed. So he didn't hit it as solid as the previous shot with the wood. Only got 247 yards, we'll round up to that, 240 in the air. So he actually hit the wood-headed driver a little bit better and a little bit farther. So that's a really interesting result. Let's see what he does with the next one. Okay, here's the next club that we got. Some of you might remember this one, the Callaway Great Big Bertha, from right around 1995 or so. This was competing with the Cobra Oversize and the Burner Bubble from back in that era. So this is a titanium head, one of the first titanium drivers, so that technology was huge back in the 90s. Let's see what kind of, we got firm flex Callaway shaft in this one, so that might be able to hold up to Ron's swing speed a little bit better. Let's see what happens. Okay, interesting. Here we go. So now we're talking. All right, so he's getting a little bit stronger with each swing, so he's up almost at 128 miles per hour swing speed. 303 yards with that one, so the titanium definitely helped. Carried the ball almost 288, 290 yards in the air. Nice little shot, a little bit low, but a little cut to it, so technology's starting to improve over the ages and it's making his drives a little bit better, so let's keep it going. Okay, here is the next victim here. This is the TaylorMade R580. Came out just after the year 2000, the early 2000s here. So a bigger head than the previous one, still titanium. Definitely a better shaft, more appropriate for Ron's swing. So let's see what happens with this one. Okay, that one sounded painful, but let's see the results. Geez, okay, so 132 miles an hour swing speed, that's kind of ridiculous. about the similar distance as the previous one, the Great Big Bertha there. So just 308 yards total distance, almost 290 in the air. A little bit lower launch, so that shaft might have been a little bit too whippy for him, but very interesting results. The distances are getting a little bit higher with each one. Let's get a little bit closer to 2010. Okay, so we're getting closer to today's date, but here we have the TaylorMade R9 from right around 2009, 2010. Much taller face on this one, a better shaft for Ronnie, so this one really should be getting close to the 320, 330 mark in distance. Let's see what happens. Okay, interesting. All right, so with the R9, with somewhat modern technology here, look what happened. So he hit it pretty solid, smash factor 1.44, that's a well-struck shot. Almost 315 yards total distance, almost 300 yards in the air, a little bit of a low launch, low spin, which is good. So that's interesting to see. We're gonna try two more, and you should notice that in the last 10 years, there's not a lot of difference in the technology, which kind of says, maybe used clubs aren't that bad of a move. Let's see what happens when we hit the M1. Okay, here we are. We are getting very close to today's date. This is the M1 TaylorMade driver from 2017. It has a lot of adjustability where these weights you can move to draw or fade. You can manipulate the ball spin by moving this weight back and forth to get a different trajectory, low to high. You can also change the loft by removing the club head and changing the way it sits in the hosel. So this is very modern technology. 2017, let's see what happens when Ron hits this one. Okay, interesting. Okay, so if you look at these numbers right here, that ball's still in the air, but 306 total distance, so it actually came down about 10 yards or so. 295 in the air, good launch angle, didn't hit it quite as solid as the last one, but you know, what does that tell you? From the R9 to the M1, about 8 years or so passed in time. Technology definitely improved, but didn't really help Ron that much with this particular swing. So it goes to show that maybe used clubs aren't that bad of a move. Let's see what happens when he hits the last one. Okay, last one. We're all up to this year's date. This is the 2019 TaylorMade M6. You'll notice with this particular head and the previous one, the M1, you have a 460cc head. That's the largest head allowed by the USGA, so it gives you a little bit more forgiveness than any of the other previous drivers. So if Ron happens to miss-hit this one, you'll still get a better strike out of it. Let's see what happens when he hits this one. All right. Well, you know what? Close enough. Look at this one. So that's interesting. So brand new technology. He didn't hit it that solid. You can tell by the smash factor, 1.29, a little on the low side for him. Just under 300 yards, 290 of which were in the air. Club head speed 134, that's pretty fast right there. So if you look at the results of all of these shots, he actually hit the R9, the TaylorMade R9 the best. And that's from about 10 to 12 years ago. He hit that one 318 yards. So it goes to show you that just because the club is new doesn't mean it's the best for you. And when you come down to Mike's Golf Outlet, we have all the clubs from the last several decades that you can try. Drivers, irons, putters, wedges, and everything. But maybe you don't need the most current driver. Maybe something from a couple of years ago fits you better, and it'll cost you a little bit less too. So that's what we do here. Come on down, we'll get you fit for a driver or whatever you're looking for.